trying to figure out why Municipal Golf Course was sold. Why did they say Municipal Golf Course was lost $200,000 a year? Now, as far as I can tell, doing my numbers, I think they make $3,000 a day in the summertime in green fees, and that's at a cheap green fee of about $15 a head, and that brings in $3,000. And I'm going to say, based upon a city wage, which they didn't make, a lot of them were paid student wages, but a city wage, including benefits, of $35 an hour, 6 employees a day, more or less, and not using the grass cutter guys on the weekend. You can't lose money. So how did they make it look like they lost money? I don't know if the golf course municipal had to pay the township of Papoonge property taxes. So that has not gone into the calculation. I don't know. And would that have eaten up all that extra money? I have no idea. But if it does, then it's one government taxing another, which means the people are taxing. It's like stupid. It's stupid, but is that one possible place where they spent more money? Yes. Another big place where they could start putting what's known as general administrative expense against it. In other words, fat cat managers' salaries. If you assign somebody who didn't even work there to be the manager of it and their supervisor and an accountant, you throw a bunch of these kind of administrative people's salaries towards the golf course. Well, that could tank your golf course, because everyone knows they're going to throw on like a computer guy is going to get thrown onto it. So they're going to take a lot of the people who don't work at the golf course, but because it's a city-owned thing, they can slough a lot of the salaries of the fat cats at City Hall onto the golf course. And it's the fat cat salary allocation, which is, it's just an accounting thing, how much you're going to put towards this. There's all kinds of things that they can do to cook the books to create this loss. Why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because it was my point earlier where I said that the government of Thunder Bay is prepared to spend $35 million on an art gallery at the harborfront, and $30 million, and then plus something else, maybe for indoor tennis courts at Chapels Park. And why I said, why on earth are you spending $75 million on something new that's all going to lose money, the same way as Municipal Golf Course? Why are you going to do this? You should have kept Municipal Golf Course and stopped tanking it with all these artificial ways of proving that it was losing money, so you could justify selling it to, you can go look up who owns it now, and you can go and look to see what they got it for, and you can go and see that the city said it was going to be developed into a resort, and years later, there's been no development on the property. It was a big fat lie. So what does it prove? Once again, it proves that it stinks. And if anyone was going to investigate it, which no one ever will, because in this country, people get away with this regularly, I would say this looks like somebody wanted this golf course taken out because, you have to figure out who bought it and what else they owned. It was not something that one of my characters on this channel is a cop, George Gross. And if George Gross was, a a police inspector and he was doing his job and he was investigating big expenditures at different branches of government, Officer George or Lieutenant George would be looking at these ones and he would be saying, "Follow the money, kids. Follow the money." Anyways, I am not going to go further into detail with this. If you want to do your numbers, try and figure it out. The way I looked at it, I figured you'd have 2 grass cutters that would be at city wages, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. You have a person running the front desk for, let's say, 2 shifts. There is no management needed there, but maybe you're going to put a manager in there. I didn't take that into account. Why? Because what do you need a manager there for? It's just a cashier. It's a cashier. And then I figured you got a hot dog person in the tuck shop. So, more or less, these are rough numbers. But, they didn't pay the front desk person. It was a student working there, so they weren't paid $35 an hour. And the hot dog person wasn't paid $35 an hour. The ranger wasn't paid $35 an hour. So possibly the 2 grass cutters. It was a 9-hole golf course. If you're telling me that 2 full-time people during the week cannot cut the grass and water the lawn out there, you're insane. Now, how much salary did they take from central services? You had accounting, the computer people, and somebody, it's going to fall under somebody's department, so you're going to have some management expense put towards it because they had to hire these people, and no one knows what else you need to do out there. Someone's got to collect the cash every day. So it's basically, I don't know. I don't know if they had a safe out there and you do it once a week or they did it daily. You could have Brinks come and pick it up. I don't know what they did. But, maybe it was 2 hours a day of some kind of a supervisor whose job was to go and take the money to the bank. You would have an expense, amortized expense, because you wouldn't go through, you might go through those big lawnmowers that they use. They should be good for multiple years. If they're using one individual lawnmower and it's going all day, you might go through one a year. Weed whackers, I don't know, industrial weed whackers are more expensive, but let's say, let's say you replace the weed whackers every year because they're probably not that indestructible. But, there's an equipment cost, but the major equipment cost, it's going to last multiple years, these tractors. And then your Ranger tractors, they're battery operated, so it's going to need a new battery every year. Well, then what other expenses? Well, what are they doing with their rental? Are they making money on the golf cart rentals? Well, it should have been looked at. And from the previous year, did you make money on your golf cart rentals and your golf club rentals? If you didn't, you're not charging enough. You put the price up the next year and people they stop buying these carts because they're too expensive. You get rid of it. Business cannot go. You just have to have a sharp business person looking at it. And, if you're losing $200,000 a year, why didn't you put the green fees up? Maybe they did, and then they had fewer people come because it was too expensive. Why wasn't all this information freely available for the public to see, the actual numbers? I don't know. Seriously, the Chronicle Journal, it's not available at the Chronicle Journal on their website, any information about this sale. So, do you expect TBT News to do it? No. I'm sorry if you're a reporter for TBT News, but I don't think you've got two brains to rub together, because you don't do anything but, read whatever the police report is of the day. So there's no investigative news going on. The paper should do it, but very few people, young people, buy the paper, and they've been cutting back staff, so they don't do it. And, it's not like Chicago where you're going to get crackerjack journalists working for the local paper. So I don't think they're going to bother investigating these things. You can't expect the Globe and Mail to investigate it, because they don't care about Thunder Bay, and neither does the Toronto Star. So you have to have basically citizens saying, I'm a business person, and what you're doing here stinks. So after throwing all of the other expenses into it, you can't make a go of it. You're losing $200,000 a year. What else could you do with this property? Well, you could lease it to a private operator who is going to keep it going for the people. I don't know. I mean, there's a million things that you could do if you saw the numbers. If you saw the numbers, and the thing is that, I don't know, I wrote an email to Justin Trudeau, and I didn't even get a response that they received my email. It wasn't an email, it was the online submission form. So they don't respond to you. It's ineffective government, and they have no desire to serve the public at all. They don't care about the public. The individual politicians, if you talk to them, they seem somewhat rational. What happens? I don't know. I don't understand it. How many of them? Rebecca Johnson would understand a balance sheet on that golf course. How many other ones on that particular city council understand basic accounting? I have no idea. And I don't know if any of them actually looked at the numbers with a little bit of a steely glint to see if the numbers were cooked. That's the problem at City Hall, is that the information is not available. They just keep putting your taxes up, and they give you, the executive summary, which is basically a one-page summary, and this is what they want to express to you after they've worked all this time in the accounting department. In the end, I see an unbelievable amount of waste at the government. Nothing new here. It's been wasting money from long before I was born. And is it going to change? Only if people start. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It seems like even if you talk about it, very few people react. And I think you're stuck with it, folks. I think you're stuck with shitty government. You're stuck with corporations that are deviously looking for ways to screw you. And you're basically living on planet hell. I'm Harry Weaver. Thank you for listening.